There are moments when we sense something beneath the surface of our lives, patterns repeating, energy feeling just a little off, or an inner knowing that we are more than what we see. Sometimes the work is not about fixing ourselves, it's about remembering how to listen to the subtle layers that have always been there. Today, we are exploring those layers gently and honestly. Welcome back to the Soul Mirror podcast, where we explore the inner patterns that shape who we are and how we move through the world. I'm your host, Shreya, and today I'm joined by Scarlett Seebach, Reiki Master, Crystal Healing Specialist, Human Design Reader, and the creator of Astral Reiki, a precision based, non touch energy modality. We'll be talking about Reiki, Astral Reiki, crystals, and human design not as concepts to believe in, but as mirrors that help us understand our energy, our patterns, and our deeper self awareness. Welcome, Scarlett. I'm honored to have you on my show.
Thank you so much, Shreya. It's great to be here.
And Scarlett, before we get into the modalities themselves, what was the moment or feeling that first made you realize energy work wasn't just interesting but essential how you understand yourself and others?
I don't know that there was necessarily one particular moment. I think I've probably been living my life this way forever, and I've slipped into greater and lesser awareness of that as time has gone on. It's certainly improved. Like, I'm definitely more aware of it now than I was 10 years ago. But I think on some level, everybody knows. Like, everybody knows that we are energy beings, and everybody knows that there's more to this world than what we can sense with our five senses. And so I think some people are just a little bit more aware of it than others. But to pinpoint an exact moment, I don't think I could. So,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And also, when people hear the words like Reiki, crystals, they are often an immediate reaction like either fascination or skepticism. So, what you notice is the biggest misconception people bring to energy work.
ooh, the biggest misconception is that energy work will fix them. And I find people, they aren't necessarily honest about it, but I find that people go into energy work expecting a miracle. And then they're very disappointed to find out that we are not, in fact, God, that we are human, just like everybody else, and that we cannot perform miracles for them. I cannot make your sciatica go away necessarily, but I definitely can help you relax the muscles around your sciatic nerve so they're not pinching your sciatic nerve as hard, because sciatic is mostly just about tension in your muscles. I don't know why that's the example I chose, but it is something that kind of permeates any kind of system like this, whether you're talking about Reiki or essential oils or crystals or really anything. There's this subsect of the people who are using these modalities who tell you to expect miracles. It's like, this crystal cured my cancer. And then, no, it didn't. Like, that's not what happens, because crystals cannot cure cancer and neither can Reiki. And that's the biggest misconception that I see. And that's not to say that all of these modalities, whether you're talking about crystals, Reiki, human design, Tai Chi, yoga, whatever, it's not to say that they can't help you, because they absolutely can. It's just, it's not a magic pill that makes all your problems go away.
Hmm. That really stands out. Like the idea that energy work is not about escaping the reality, also, it's actually becoming more aware of it. I think it's less mystical than people assume. And
Mhm.
also, when someone's energy feels off, what tends to be happening underneath? Are there common patterns you see, like emotionally, mentally, or energetically?
Oh yes, everybody. I'm convinced everyone on earth is energy depleted. And what I see a lot is we use different control mechanisms and different siphoning mechanisms to try to steal energy from each other because we're all so cut off from the source of energy that actually fills us up that we just try to take it from other people. So the biggest issue that I see with every single person, no matter what it is that they're coming to me for, is they're exhausted.
Hmm.
They're just absolutely exhausted, and they may not even know it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think like it's not that imbalance. It's not random. It's like information that our body, the feel, even our emotional reactions are constantly communicating when something we haven't yet slowed down to enough to hear. And also, how do these energetic patterns show up for people practically, like in relationships and work or decision making or even exhaustion?
they show up in a lot of different ways, and it kind of depends on what energetic balance you're experiencing or the person you're interacting with is experiencing. So some of the obvious ways are if you turn it in on yourself, then you're going to feel really tired, maybe really emotional, really exhausted, and just kind of wrung out. But if you're kind of one of those externalizing people, then you're going to feel it in the need to control. So, whether that's your environment or other people, it's all about controlling your outside world. Whatever it is that you can control, you will control. And sometimes you might be doing both. So those are two of the big things that I really see is, whether you're pointing it inward or outward, is control and just kind of feeling exhausted.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful because it reframes being stuck as an energetic signal rather than as a personal failure. And also for someone who is new to this world, where does awareness begin, whether through Reiki, crystals, or human design? What's the gentle way to start working with energy without feeling overwhelmed?
So the easiest way to start is to notice your own body. Your own body has energy. Your own body is made up mostly of energy, just like everything else. The atoms are basically just the things in between energy. So when you really focus in on the energy movement of your own body, that's where you live. It's the easiest thing to figure out how it works. So that's the best place to start is with yourself.
Yeah. I love how approachable that piece is. It's not about doing everything, it's about beginning a relationship with your own energy. And also, energy work is not always linear. There are sometimes like when people feel clearer and other times when old patterns resurface also. So when that happens, how do you guide people to stay with the process rather than doubt themselves?
So one thing that I've really learned about energy work is that it's not that it's not always linear, it's that it's never linear. It's just not how it works. It can sometimes appear linear for short periods of time, but that's just because you didn't notice the curve in the spiral. Because all energy work is basically just a spiral. We're always solving the same problems on a new level and like working towards controlling and figuring out more optimal ways to respond to the same issues on a new level of intensity. So keeping that in mind, we all have our own issues. Most of them tend to stem around our parents. So whether you have mommy issues or daddy issues, they're going to come up over and over and over and over and over again. But they're going to have different flavors to them. It's always going to be a little bit different. And it's really noticing how you respond differently to those situations and how those situations, while still present, have changed. Just maybe not in the way that you expected them to. Because energy work almost never works in the way that you expect it to.
Yes, I think that's such an important reminder also, like that's revisiting old patterns doesn't mean we are going backward. And mm, as people become more energetically aware, intuition often gets louder, but so can self-doubt also be louder. So how do you help someone distinguish between true intuitive guidance and fear?
I actually think self-doubt is very, very important. Overall, I think religious institutions are the ones that teach us that doubt is bad. And when you have a new intuitive experience, it's actually very important to question that experience. It's like, is that real? Did that really happen? Should I verify that? Is that scary to me? Do I need to check in on with someone else so that they can verify that? Whenever I have a new intensely intuitive experience, I have a couple of psychics that I will employ to verify what just happened to me, and I won't tell them anything about it. I'll just ask them, "What happened? I need you to tell me exactly, and if you can't, then I need to question this further, and I need to really dig into what happened and whether or not I'm going crazy or if there's an aspect of this that I haven't seen yet." Questioning things and turning things over in your mind and really logicking them out is actually very, very important when you're working with intuition because it is very difficult to tell your intuition from your fear. But when we talk about intuition versus fear, there's actually a pretty easy way to tell the difference. And that is your intuition generally only says something once. Your fear will say it over and over and over and over again, and it will tell you the same thing 20 different ways and give you like a million different scenarios in which something can go horribly wrong. But your intuition, it's just got that one thing to say, and then it's done.
Yeah, I think that distinction really feels important. And also, many people feel drained without knowing why, especially empaths or caregivers. So, how do boundaries work on an energetic level, and what does healthy energy hygiene actually look like in daily life?
So energetic boundaries are super duper important and they are a pivotal part of energetic hygiene. To me, energetic hygiene has two different parts. There's the protection part or the energetic boundaries, and then there's the cleansing. So when we talk about energetic protection or energetic boundaries, we can look at that in a lot of different ways. You can use crystals and visualization and sound and your guides and your ancestors and all kinds of different things. But if you wanna talk about my favorite one, I love to source my protection externally, so it's not taking away from my energy to do so. So what I will do is envision a red light that's kind of surrounding me that's coming up from the earth. And that red light will kind of make a dome around me up to my soul star chakra, and then at that soul star chakra, which is about a foot above your head, give or take, it will kind of form this laser beam of red light that goes all the way to the sun or the center of the galaxy, whichever one makes you happy. And it kind of sources the energy both from the earth and from that light source so that we're connecting ourselves both to the earth and to the heavens. And so that's definitely my favorite way to go about protection. Now, when we talk about the other half of energetic hygiene, we're talking about cleansing. And there's also a lot of different ways to go about cleansing. You can use your hands to brush off on your body, and you just brush off from head to toe. That's a very easy and simple way to go about cleansing that requires absolutely no money. So that's nice. But if you wanted to spend just a little bit, you can also smoke cleanse with, I mean, near as I can tell, different cultures use pretty much any herb. I haven't really seen one that isn't used except for the poisonous ones. Don't do that. But you can also cleanse with sound. A lot of people use rattles. I have a sistrum that I got from Egypt, and I use wind chimes. So there's a lot of different ways to go about cleansing, just like there's a lot of different ways to go about protection. So.
That's really amazing. That's really amazing. And also, spiritual insight can feel profound in a session, but in real life, uh, it still include deadlines, relationships, and responsibilities. So, what does integration look like when someone is trying to live energetically aligned and also function in the real world?
Yes. How do you do the laundry after you've reached enlightenment? Uh, there's a book on that, actually. It's called something very similar. Possibly that, I can't remember. But it, it looks like a lot of different things. I think when you have a moment of spiritual enlightenment, almost immediately following that, there is this burst of ego that makes you feel like you're more enlightened than everybody else, and that everybody else is a sheeple or some other silly little nonsense. And it is so very important to recognize when your ego is having itself a little moment, and move past that, and to come back to the center of everybody is a person, that we are all souls in a body that are all having our own individual experiences and our collective experiences. And just because you've had a moment of spiritual enlightenment, that doesn't mean that you get to opt out. You still have to do the laundry. You still have to go to work. And you get to bring this new vibration of enlightenment to your laundry and to your work and to the people around you. It's just to remember that it doesn't actually make you better than anyone else. It just makes you a little bit further on the path. And that makes it your job to help guide others. You got to reach out that hand.
Yeah. And also, if there is one thing you wish people understand about energy work, not only as a concept but as a lived experience, then what would it be?
That literally anybody can do it. Anybody can receive it, anybody can send it. There's so many people doing so much energy work already, and they don't even know. But just because you can do it doesn't mean that you can do it correctly. And if you find that you're sending energy to other people without really regulating what you're doing, and you find yourself super depleted afterward, or if you're transmuting energy for other people inside your own body because you think it's really compassionate and you're depleting yourself by doing that, I would highly encourage you to get training, because there are ways to do energy work without depleting yourself. And I wish I knew that so many years before I knew that, because I could have saved myself a lot of heartache and a lot of depletion if I had gotten training so much sooner.
Yeah, that's really, really amazing. And I keep on sharing this insight with our audience. And this is truly a wonderful conversation with you. And if after this my listeners want to connect with you, then what's the best way?
So, the easiest way to get a hold of me is through my website, and that is yourabundantdesign.com. Or if it's easier to type, astralreiki.net. They will both get you to exactly the same place. And I'd recommend you sign up for my newsletter because I'm going to be coming out with some crystal classes here really soon. And that'll be pretty much the only way I'm telling people about it.
Yes, and I will make, yeah. So I'll make sure to attach all these details and links below so that the listeners can find them easily and get in touch with you because you're truly an amazing person. And to my listeners, there is today's reflection question for you. For anyone who's listening and who feels disconnected or energetically drained right now, what might shift if you ask yourself, what is my energy trying to tell me rather than what's wrong with me? And remember, energy work at its core is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering how to listen to the truth already moving within you. And thank you for sharing your insights, Scarlett, to our show, and your presence is really amazing. And to my listeners, if something in this conversation stirred recognition or curiosity, let yourself sit with it. Awareness doesn't rush. This is the Soul Mirror podcast. Until next time, keep listening inward and let what you notice guide you forward. Thank you.